What's going on, guys? It is TC here with another episode of TC Talks. A little bit of a special episode here for you. What we're going to be talking about is the Deshaun Watson situation. More preferably, though, the Baker Mayfield situation because of the Deshaun Watson situation. I'm going to dive into, should Baker Mayfield have been put in this spot regardless of Deshaun Watson. So, without further ado, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below before you dive into the rest of this video. Do you think that Deshaun Watson should have been going to the Cleveland Browns, or do you think the Cleveland Browns should have been sticking with Baker Mayfield? Let me know your comments down in the comment section below. But let's dive into some of the things that have been going on in Cleveland. As you guys know, an 8-9 season following an 11-5 season, not promising if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, but I think you got to take that with a grain of salt. 8-9 is a great sound compared to the seasons that you were given in the early to mid 2000s or 10s of the 2000s, with a few exceptions. Another 10-6 season thrown in there in the early 2000s, but that's pretty much it. The best season you guys have had in decades. This 11-5 season has not been done since 1994. So for Baker Mayfield to have accomplished that, I think is a pretty big deal. But besides the accomplishments, let's kind of compare him to another player that most people would consider a solid starter on his team with Dak Prescott. I chose Dak Prescott because he does get a little bit of hate as well. Few people say he's not clutch, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into the hate as much as some people will, but I just wanted to summarize that Deshaun Watson was probably a best case scenario, or Dak Prescott was a best case scenario for picking somebody to compare to Baker Mayfield. Because I'm not trying to pick a dud. I'm not trying to pick a Ryan Tannehill or somebody like that. I'm trying to find a guy that has stuck with his team, seems to be a key player for the franchise. So let's dive into those statistics. Dak Prescott obviously played a few years longer than Baker Mayfield, so I took them from Baker Mayfield's starting year. Kind of a little unfair due to the fact that one is going to be his rookie year, and this is going to be Dak Prescott's third year in the league. But I decided to do it anyway. From the 2018 to 2021 season, Mayfield was outdone by Prescott in every category. Prescott had almost a 6% completion percentage higher, over 1,000 yards more, in 120 more attempts, 6 more touchdowns, 23 less interceptions, and a passer rating of 100.3 compared to 87.8. So right there, it kind of seems like, wow, they are two very different quarterbacks, and those numbers don't lie. They seemed a little bit closer, though, if I'm being honest, than I thought. So I thought, you know what, let's look at them comparatively. Let's take their best seasons and see how they compare to each other. So I took Baker Mayfield's 11-5 season, 2020, and I took Dak Prescott's 2021. Now, I know record-wise, not as good as his rookie year where they went 12-4, but at the same time, I figured, you know what, this is more recent, it's more telling of the character of Dak Prescott, and kind of lends itself to more him as a quarterback being an integral part of the offense. Sure, he might have been important in his rookie campaign, but now he's kind of solidified himself in the starting role, being a key member of that offensive scheme. So when I looked at those numbers, they are quite similar, actually. Another 6% higher completion rate, almost 1,000 more passing yards, 9 more touchdowns, or 11 more touchdowns, actually 2 more interceptions than Baker Mayfield, and then 104.2 pass rating to 95.9. So if you look at it raw statistically just like that, it really seems like there are two different quarterbacks entirely. Baker Mayfield, kind of a more mediocre one. Dak Prescott being one that's more of an elite level quarterback. And from what we all saw from Deshaun Watson in his lone year in the NFL, he seemed to be like an elite level quarterback, kind of doing what Baker Mayfield did in Cleveland, but at a higher level on a team that doesn't really know anything about success with the Houston Texans. They became a competitor in the AFC once Deshaun got there, and unfortunately, since his departure, they have fell back into mediocrity. So I could see why Cleveland is looking to get Deshaun Watson, because it's like, hey, if he was able to take a terrible franchise and bring them to competition, what could he do with our franchise that is pretty competitive right now in this moment? The AFC is just an absolute powerhouse, though, so maybe it would take a Deshaun Watson talent in order to be competitive. But over and above all, I thought there was another key factor in evaluating these quarterbacks. And the first thing I decided, and the next thing I decided to do, was look at who is their supporting cast, receivers, running backs. Now, both players in their respective campaigns or seasons, 2020 for Baker Mayfield, 2021 for Dak Prescott, both had 1,000-yard rushers, so that's good, that's fantastic. But Baker Mayfield did not have a 1,000-yard receiver. The highest was Jarvis Landry. Sorry, I totally wrote his name terribly, and it might be Janice Landry. I don't know. Jarvis Landry. Yeah, that seems right. I don't know. Let me know if I got it wrong in the comment section below. Sorry for butchering it. But since 2014, that guy has put up 4,038 receiving yards. Now, I'm not a huge sports nerd. I'm not into the statistics that much, but 4,000 yards over 7 seasons does not seem like a good number. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section down below. But for me personally, not a great number 1 target. Now, did he have a few good seasons sprinkled in there? Of course. He had like 3 or 4 1,000-yard seasons, which is fantastic. I guess it was 3 because there's no way it's 4. But 2 or 3 1,000-yard seasons sprinkled in there, so that's fantastic, good for him. But over and above all, he just hasn't executed as a number 1 guy. And I especially want you to compare that now to CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz coming in at 806 receiving yards, almost equating what Jarvis Landry was getting as the number 1 receiver in Cleveland. Amari Cooper with 860-something comes pretty close to exactly what Landry got over there in Cleveland. So number 2 receiver equating exactly to the number 1 receiver of another team kind of speaks for itself. And again, the Dallas Cowboys, are we really going to sit and argue that a team like that is anywhere near on the same level as Cleveland? No. And that's kind of the issue that I had comparing the teams, because Dak Prescott kind of had everything made, but didn't have any holes or flaws necessarily with his team at the same time. But when you look at Cleveland, tons of holes in the team, tons of problems. Maybe a better comparison would have been more something like Chicago, where they squandered Mitchell Trubisky. They're squandering, I should say, Justin Fields right now. So there's tons of better examples, but I didn't want to compare Baker Mayfield to somebody that was an obvious win per se. I wanted to kind of give him a more aggressive time comparing him with another NFL quarterback. But I think regardless, the way those statistics stand up, he's not a complete waste of talent. And for the surrounding cast that's been around him consistently, he's been able to get it done. In 2020, he was supposed to have Odell Beckham Jr. with him, being able to target him consistently. Odell Beckham Jr., despite not even being able to get the chemistry going with Baker Mayfield, was not even on the field a lot in that season. So it would have been hard to get the chemistry flowing regardless. So I think that in terms of looking at the statistics, it's kind of hard to just write off Baker Mayfield as a wash, especially when you look at the other talent these elite teams have had. But I think the other key metric when you're evaluating Baker Mayfield is, where were the Cleveland Browns at prior to Baker Mayfield? And honestly, nowhere good. Sure, a few 7-9 seasons sprinkled in there over and above all, but if you compare the 2010 to 2017 seasons to the 2018 to the 2021 seasons, for Baker Mayfield. Mayfield's 5 seasons there from 2018 to 2021 are more 4 seasons, are more impactful than those 8 seasons from 2020 to 2017. They equal the same amount of wins at 29. It takes 8 seasons prior to Baker Mayfield to equate to the amount that he's won. But even then, it still wouldn't match because Baker Mayfield has 1, a winning season, and 2, a playoff win to go along with it. The first one in over 20 years as a franchise. So why would they take one of the most winning quarterbacks of their history, the most in recent history, and squander him away like that? I get Baker Mayfield is no Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or anything like that, but for the team that Cleveland has, they should be respectful to what he's been able to accomplish. Sure, some of those reports of him, being a little bit of a complainer or whatever, understandable though, given the fact that he's been able to elevate this team to a level that they have not seen for quite some time. Like I said, an 11-win season, not seen since 1994. The best season they had, 1986, with 12-4. So the ceiling is not much higher than that 11-5 season. Could they be disappointed in the fact that they kind of fell off to an 8-9 season this year? Of course, that's understandable. But at the same time, given the cast, given the history of the Cleveland franchise, you got to give Baker Mayfield the credit he deserves for making this franchise competitive again. Sure, they've done a lot of great things. The defense looks a lot better, and the offense has definitely been tightened up, but still, comparing it to other franchises, it's just not there, specifically for the AFC. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you agree? Is Baker Mayfield underrated specifically by the Cleveland Browns and I guess the NFL world in general? Or is he properly rated and just a mediocre quarterback at best? Let me know your comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, share, and subscribe. Remember, we are doing a giveaway at 50 subscribers, so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that. This has been TC with another episode of TC Talks, a special edition out there for you. Until next time.